Just ahead on CTV News, Maryland announces a lawsuit against the owners of the Dolly cargo ship.
This is a first step in our commitment to hold accountable those responsible for the tragedy that befell the state 6 months ago this week.
Plus,
a 13-year-old girl is shot in her Seat Pleasant home, and we have developments on who Seat Pleasant police say shot her coming up on CTV News.
And the Commanders bring home a big win. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for September 24th. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Maryland officials announced the state is filing a federal lawsuit against the owners of a cargo ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge earlier this year. 6 construction workers on that bridge were killed when the Dolly crashed into the structure on March 26th. Now, the suit alleges the ship's owner and manager, Grace Ocean Private Limited and Synergy Marine Group, knowingly sent an unseaworthy ship into U.S. waters.
But that injustice, leaving Marylanders to pay for this tragedy, cannot and will not stand. Because what has come to light in our investigation is that the Dolly was not fit to sail that morning. The day before the collision, its electrical system had failed twice. Failures that the ship owners and operator could have and should have fixed to avoid the tragedy. They failed even to inform the U.S. Coast Guard, as the law required, or to warn the pilots who boarded the Dolly to help it leave the port of Baltimore. Instead, they told them everything was fine.
And families and victims and survivors have already announced litigation, as has the Justice Department, which is seeking to recover $100 million the government spent to clear the underwater debris and reopening the city's port.
In a developing story, a 13-year-old girl was shot in Seat Pleasant yesterday. CTV's Bryce Parker is on the scene with more.
Earlier today, Seat Pleasant police apprehended a mother who they believe shot her daughter yesterday. The shooting took place right behind me on the 500 block of 69th Place here in Seat Pleasant. Her daughter, just 13 years old, currently in the hospital fighting for her life. On your screen is 32-year-old Talika Brown, who has been charged with first-degree attempted murder, along with a host of other charges. According to police, Brown opened fire on her daughter inside of her home. Police would arrive on the scene just before 5 p.m., where they found the child suffering from a gunshot wound to the upper body. The girl was transported to a local hospital where she is listed in critical but stable condition. Acting Police Chief Cedric Hayward stated that, quote, "It is always tragic when violence happens in our communities, but it is heart-wrenching when the perpetrator is supposed to be your protector." He later went on to say that the Seat Pleasant Police Department is committed to working with the State Attorney's Office to ensure that Brown is held accountable for her actions. Reporting from Seat Pleasant, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
All right, Bryce, thanks so much. Well, 1 man is dead and 2 others are seriously injured following a shooting in Mount Rainier. Officers were called to the 3400 block of Rhode Island Avenue just after 7:30 p.m. Police say a male suspect and a male driver got into a verbal argument outside of a liquor store. The suspect pulled out a gun and shot inside the car multiple times. 1 man died on the scene. 2 other passengers in the car were taken to a hospital with life-threatening injuries. Now, Mount Rainier Police and Prince George's Police are investigating this incident.
And the Democratic nominee for Senate, Angela Alsobrooks, responds to reports that she improperly claimed tax credits she wasn't eligible for. The CNN report over the weekend said Alsobrooks likely saved thousands of dollars over the years by claiming 2 tax exemptions on properties she owned in D.C. and Maryland. Speaking to reporters yesterday at her annual family barbecue, Alsobrooks said she was unaware of the tax credits until a few days ago when the reports came out.
I would never take a tax credit that I wasn't entitled to. And as I mentioned on the one on my personal home, it wouldn't even benefit me to take a homestead tax credit on the wrong home. But it's been corrected. It was an oversight, and, you know, we're correcting it.
The report estimates also Brooks saved about $15,000 through the tax credits, all of which she says she intends to pay back. And a Bowie police officer is on leave and under investigation after the officer fired his gun and hit a moving car on September 12th. Police Chief Dwayne Preston said in a statement Monday that Sergeant Robert Warrington was on patrol when he stopped to help what he thought was a stranded driver on Collington Road. According to Preston, as Warrington approached the vehicle, a man was walking toward him from the opposite side of the street, heading to the passenger side of the stopped vehicle. That's when the sergeant fired his service weapon. His reason for doing so remains under investigation. The incident was captured on Warrington's body cam, and police say the footage will be released once the investigation is complete.
And county police are warning the community about a rise in extortion schemes. Listen to this. In most cases, a suspect and victim will meet over social media, and the suspect pretends to be romantically interested in a sexual relationship and persuades the victim to send nude photos. After receiving the photos, the suspect will then threaten to share them publicly unless the victim pays up. Police have put out a list of tips, which include first calling 911 to file a police report the suspect's social media account through the platform which they contacted you, and then victims should also block the suspect from contacting them, and most importantly, save the suspect's profile information and messages to help police identify them. But so far this year, PGPD has received 19 reports of these extortions.
Meantime, legislation was introduced in Prince George's County Council aimed at streamlining the special election process and saving county funds. Rather than holding a special primary election followed by a special election, the bill calls for one election with all of the candidates, regardless of party affiliation, running against each other.
Just have this one election in 100 days. Whoever wins that election is the winner. The winner takes all, opposed to having the primary and then going to another general for another 100 days and having to set up for both of those elections. This bill simply will save the taxpayers some money, have one election, and then make sure our Board of Elections is able to handle all these elections.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Noon. Still to come, student submission for financial aid decreased this year. Learn what problem led to low submissions.
And we have the August job report. Find out how many new jobs are available and how the state compares nationally when we return.
This land is your land. This land is my.
This land we love belongs to all of us. Yet not everyone is treated equally. Right now, millions of Americans are fighting for the things promised to all by the Constitution: freedom, justice, equality. The ACLU is leading the fight to protect our civil liberties. Together, we can protect and advance our rights nationwide, because we the people means all of us.
This land was made for you and me.
Learn how the ACLU is defending the right to vote, free speech, and other civil liberties at myaclu.org.
The great thing about a hearing check? No one makes you drink weird stuff, or drills your teeth, or dilates your eyes. It's just soothing me time in a quiet booth. Then bam, you can do the happy dance, because you're all done.
Untreated hearing loss puts you at greater risk for depression and anxiety. So what's holding you back? Let's see a hearing professional and get those ears checked. And let's dance.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, the grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
Welcome back. 10 schools in Maryland receive a federal Blue Ribbon Award from the U.S. Department of Education. Only about 350 schools across the country earn the distinction out of thousands of schools. 6 private schools and 4 public schools in Maryland were recognized, including Bishop McNamara High School in Forestville, a Catholic coeducational college prep school in Prince George's County. Bells Mill and Chapel Hill Elementaries in the Montgomery County Public School System were also honored.
And the University of Maryland Francis King Carey School of Law has launched a groundbreaking forensic defense clinic, the first of its kind in this nation. Now, this program aims to help people in need who have been accused or convicted of crimes by focusing on issues related to forensic evidence. The 6-credit clinic, which started this semester, combines a practicum and seminar. Students will also gain an in-depth understanding of forensic evidence and the legal principles surrounding its admissibility in criminal cases.
Well, submissions for college financial aid were down this year after the rollout of the new FAFSA was full of mistakes and glitches. Low-income students must submit the form to access federal Pell Grants, student loans, and other kinds of financial aid that make college possible for many students. Total FAFSA submissions were down 3%, around 400,000 less applications than the year before. Many students experienced delays with their applications if they did file, leaving them unsure of if they'd be able to afford tuition and possibly determining if they were able to go to school at all. To help families avoid glitches this fall, the 2025-2026 application will open up in phases, with limited numbers of students able to access the form on launch day. And good news for job seekers in the state of Maryland. According to the August job report, Maryland has added 2,700 new jobs, keeping up with the national growth rate of 0.1%. Maryland also remains among the lowest in the nation in unemployment rate at 4.1%. Just this past year, Maryland has added almost 32,000 jobs and continues to grow faster than the national average.
The jazz world is mourning the loss of one of the greats. Saxophonist Benny Golson died over the weekend in his Manhattan home. Golson, who was born in Philadelphia in 1929, was named a National Endowment for the Arts Jazz Master in 1996.
He played side by side with luminaries such as John Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie, and Art Blakey. He also composed many of the jazz standards, including Whisper Not, Blues March, and Killer Joe.
You know, his playing, to me, his sound and his playing, and particularly on his own songs, it was present in other songs, but man, there was no question when he was playing about whether he knew where he was in the song at all times. Like, he knew where he was harmonically, he knew rhythmically where he was, he knew where he just came from, he knew where he was going. It made sense, you know, his phrasing, his connecting, his creativity, his new ideas.
Over his 7-decade career, Golson also composed music for many TV shows, including Mission Impossible, MASH, and The Mod Squad. Benny Golson was 95 years old.
And still to come on CTV News, September is Suicide Prevention Month, and a new documentary is shining a light on the importance of mental health.
Find out how the documentary came to be and where you can watch it right after the break.
I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. When I came back from the war, I became a homeless veteran. I was barely hanging on by a thread. The one thing that was constant for me was music. Music led me to Tanya. Normally with a veteran, we think we can solve everything. The truth of the matter is we cannot.
I just knew that something was different, something was off. I let him know that he wasn't alone. There are people that loved him.
And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help.
Disaster could happen anywhere at any time. Whether you are in the city, the suburb,
or the countryside, preparedness is crucial.
No matter where you live, take action to stay safe. Know the risks and stay informed. Visit ready.gov for more information and download the FEMA app today.
Preparedness is peace of mind.
In an election year, our social media feeds can fill up with sensational claims and unfamiliar sources. And in the age of artificial intelligence, it's not hard to make a fake video look like the real deal. With so many tools, tactics, and motivations for spreading false content, we need to be on the lookout for bad actors looking to sway our votes. If you see a damaging post, image, or story about a candidate or issue, make sure to verify whether it's real or not before you share it. Falsehoods spread much faster than facts. Be informed, not misled.
Governor Wes Moore took a big step on Friday by officially launching Maryland's first Office of Correctional Ombudsman. His office announced that Yvonne Briley Wilson has been appointed as the acting ombudsman for this new oversight office. This initiative comes from legislation passed by the Maryland General Assembly last session and is part of a broader justice reform aimed at responding to growing public concern about the state's correction system. And the nation is seeing a stark increase in whooping cough cases that are nearly 5 times higher than the previous year. Maryland has already seen 90 cases in 2024 compared to only 9 cases in 2023. And the South Atlantic region has over 1,600 cases compared to the 276 that were recorded this time last year. Children should receive a vaccine for pertussis at 2, 4, 6, and 15 to 18 months, and then another dose between 4 to 6 years old. The vaccine is also recommended for pregnant women, healthcare workers, or any other adults who are in close contact to infants.
And the federal government is suing 3 major pharmacy benefit managers, accusing them of driving up insulin prices. The FTC filed the lawsuit against Caremark, Express Scripts, and Optum Rx, who process 80% of insulin prescriptions. The agency alleges their rebate practices artificially inflate drug prices, forcing patients, especially those without insurance, to pay more. The PBMs claim they help control drug costs, but the FTC argues their practices prioritize high-priced insulin and exclude cheaper options. The companies deny the allegations, calling them baseless.
And obesity rates in the U.S. are high and holding steady, but new government research shows that severe obesity, especially among women, has been on the rise over the past decade. A recent survey of about 6,000 people found that around 40% of adults are considered obese, with nearly 1 in 10 reporting severe obesity. Increasingly, according to the CDC, women are almost twice as likely as men to fall into this category.
And September is National Suicide Prevention Month, and a new documentary is looking to shine a spotlight on the impact of mental health issues and suicide. The film Surviving Life is set to premiere this Friday, September 27th, at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts. The documentary will feature the personal stories of suicide survivors, including Candace Camille and a teen survivor named Zariah Moore, who attempted to take her own life at 12 and again at 14 years old. Surviving Life will also feature healthcare professionals, law enforcement, as well as local and state leaders. Documentarian Karen McConnell-Jones says this project has been 2 years in the making.
Everything don't have in mental health don't have to be schizophrenia or manic depressor. You know, mental health is in all of us, and that's what I learned, and I would like to say. Even having a stressful day is mental health. You know, and just letting everyone know that you're not alone, because like sometimes when we're having a stressful day or we starting to feel depressed, first thing happen is isolation. You know, we feel like we're alone, or again, because of the stigma, we too embarrassed to tell anybody that we having a mental health challenge or crisis at the moment. So just wanted to give the community a safe haven place that we can start having a conversation.
Again, the film will air at 7 p.m. at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts. McConnell-Jones says this documentary is for all ages. And still ahead on CTV News, Simon Buggs is back with the Tuesday Sports page.
That's right, Simon. What's going on today in sports?
Well, guys, I'm really excited about today's sports page as I'm going to recap some great highlights from high school volleyball and also the Commanders game from last night. Stay right there, sports fans. You don't want to miss it. Be right back.
Why?
Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love.
So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see say for my friends.
I see say for their future.
I see say for my entire school.
I see say because if I don't, who will?
I see say because all this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we are all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
When he has cancer in his brain.
It was like, why me? Why my child? But at St. Jude, it's a huge mental relief that all of my child's care is taken without any bills. It is a huge blessing.
It was all about keeping him alive, and it was all focused on him.
St. Jude is a place where my child's life was saved. It's like the holy place for me.
I have one.
I'd be so lost without mine.
We are talking about mentors, right?
Yes, a mentor can guide you,
Support you.
and unlock your potential.
Being a mentor can be just as life-changing. And inspire the next generation.
Helping someone find their path can transform your own.
So find a mentor.
Wait, can I do both?
Let me ask my mentor.
Of course you can.
Bring someone along on your journey and see where it takes you.
The more you know.
What's up, everyone? It's time for your Tuesday sports page. Now, volleyball fans are going to want to see this as I have some highlights from high schools that are right here in the county. It was an entertaining matchup last night as the Bowie and Flowers high school volleyball squads took the court last night against one another. In the first set, Flowers started off strong as it jumped out to a nice lead thanks to plays like these two kills from the Lady Jaguars. One from outside hitter Mackenzie Roy, and this one from middle hitter Harain Gibson. But despite being down, the Lady Bulldogs had some nice hits that resulted in points, like this one from a Bowie high school player. Flowers did keep their lead and came out on top in the first set, 25-13. In the second set, Bowie kept it close as they only trailed by single digits, as at one point they were only down 21-20. And eventually the Lady Bulldogs took the lead due to some mistakes on offense by Flowers, like this hit out of bounds that gave the Bowie their final point of the set, beating Flowers 25-21. But in the third set, Flowers was able to bounce back and get the dub, as points coming from this kill courtesy of outside hitter Layla Deeve helped the Lady Jags win it 25-18. The fourth and final set was a nail-biter as after Flowers had a double-digit lead, Bowie was able to track them down and get back in the game as hits like this spike from the Lady Bulldogs and more mistakes on the offensive end for Flowers helped Bowie cut the deficit to as low as just 2 points. But Flowers was able to lock back in and win the final set 25-20. And the Lady Jaguars won the game overall, beating Bowie 3-1. And there was more volleyball action last night as Gwen Park took down Fairmont Heights 3-0. College Park Academy won a close game against Surrattsville 3-2. And finally, Parkdale shut out Duval 3-0. Meantime, while Flowers were getting the dub over in Bowie, the Washington Commanders were in Cincinnati getting a win against the Bengals. The Commanders took down Cincy in a close game last night, 38-30. And quarterback Jaden Daniels, who completed 21 of his 23 passing attempts, touched on whether or not he was surprised he had so much success in the matchup.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yes, because obviously it's something new to me as I continue the journey in my rookie year, but also just knowing the aspect, I put in the work. And what's done in the dark will always come to the light. So I just know that I'm prepared for these moments week in and week out. I'm just got to go out there and play football and execute.
Washington will look to make it 3 straight wins when they take on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday at 4:05. And to wrap things up, the Baltimore Orioles will be on the road tonight as they begin their series against the New York Yankees. The two teams will take the diamond at 7:05. And the Washington Nationals will host the Kansas City Royals tonight. The game begins at 6:45. And that is your Tuesday Sports page.
So I'm sure you're feeling good today, Simon.
Absolutely,
your teams are taking the win. So what did you see that you liked in that Commanders game?
Well, first I want to start with Jaden Daniels. He had an excellent game. He showed us his passing ability last night. That 21 for 23 completion percentage was 91%, which is a rookie record for completion percentage in a game. He had an absolute breakout game. Commanders fans have been hoping for a franchise quarterback so long, and I think we got one in Jaden Daniels. I'm very excited about the win.
And Simon, that volleyball game was it seemed high energy. You were there. The score seemed to be pretty close. What was the environment like at that game?
It was very, very exciting, Michaela, especially in that final set where Bowie was looking to come back and maybe get another win. It was real loud. They were showing a lot of energy. That Bulldogs crowd was definitely fired up, and I'm definitely looking forward to going to another game at Bowie High School. It was a great game last night for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Simon.
No problem.
All right, now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight we'll have some fog out there, so be safe on the roads.
And tomorrow it's going to be 73 degrees, and we have a 60% chance of rain. Thursday, more rain is on the way. We're looking at a high of 79 and a low of 68. Friday, the rain continues, and we'll have a high of 76.
And for your community calendar, tomorrow morning, the Bowie Senior Center is hosting a vaccine clinic in partnership with Safeway Pharmacy. Vaccines available will be for the flu, COVID, and RSV.
Make sure you wear clothing that allows easy access to your upper arms, but for more information, call the center at 301-809-2300.
All right, that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.
It may sound funny, but hearing actually happens in our brains, not our ears. Our ears are like mail carriers that deliver sound, so our brains can figure out what's going on. So what is going on? Well, it's pretty simple. When our ears work better, our brains hear better. And that's a happier thing. Like Happy Dance, happier.
Hearing loss puts you at greater risk for dementia. So see a hearing professional and let's get those ears checked.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, the grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
These walls and windows hold me tight. The warm embrace we all call home. My neighbors watch over one another. This little street is a land of liberty of its own, where I always have a place to go. I'm free to call this place my own. We all deserve a place to call home.
That's an American dream.
The bravest person I know is my daughter, Cynthia.
My friend Sean, and he was in the Air Force.
One of the bravest things he ever did wasn't when he first enlisted, it was when he found his first support group.
It was when he asked to move in with me and my mom.
I felt like I was lost, and you gave me a place to stay.
She went on foreign soil. She went to war. But the bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.